Now, let me preface this by saying that I did not watch Slammiversary this past Sunday. I have not watched Slammiversary this past Sunday. I probably will not watch Slammiversary at all. However, with that being said, that doesn't mean I can't still give my thoughts on the card itself of Slammiversary. So here's a bit of not a review, here's a bit of thought on this, this past Sunday's Slammiversary event produced by TNA. Oh my god, thank God I did not order this pay-per-view for many reasons. Many fucking reasons. Particularly because of the main event, who was in it, who won, and who it was all about. So let's kick this off. The opening match, a three-way elimination match for the X Division Championship. You would think, since it's an X Division Championship match, that it would be quality, that it would be good. It was Tigre Uno versus Manic versus DJZ. The problem I have about this match, why the hell was it not announced to begin with? This is one of your two big shows, big pay-per-views of the year, and you cannot even announce a TNA X Division Championship match. Not to mention that you went into this pay-per-view not having a title match on the card. This is one of your two big shows. And you can't even put a title match on the card. It's the first problem with TNA. Now, what I've been hearing from this match is this match was awkward, this match had some time issues, but it was still a solid opening match. Okay, that's great, but that's not the point. There should have been some build to it, there should have been some suspense and story to it, there should have been something to it, and there wasn't. Next match, Robbie E versus Jesse Goddard. You know, I have been keeping up with TNA over the last couple weeks. The storyline between these two guys is pretty good. And then I hear that the match sucked, so why should I talk about it? So I'm not going to. Bram versus Matt Morgan in this street fight. Okay, why the fuck did this need a street fight stipulation? Like, why? Does this make any sense? Not to mention that if you go back to last Wednesday, that was when Matt Morgan made his return to TNA. That's... Why does this match need a street fight stipulation? They haven't even been feuding for a week. So you throw them in a match together for no reason. Bram goes over, whoop-de-doo. Austin Aries defeating Davey Richards, and the winner picks the stipulation for match 5 for the Tag Team Championship Best of 5 series. Why the fuck was match 5 not on the pay-per-view? Why are you using this pay-per-view and completely throwing this pay-per-view under the bus to promote an episode of Impact that only half of America can watch? And not even half of that half probably watch it. Stupid. And I'm sure this match was great, but that's not the point. Do you know how much better it would have been if match 5 between these two teams of the Dirty Heels and the Wolves went at it in a mid-card tag team title match at this Big 2 pay-per-view, if that's what you want to call it? That would have been better. That would have been good. But instead you completely throw this show under the bus to build up an episode of Impact that no one's going to watch now. And now no one will know, whoever can't watch TNA because they don't have Destination America is not going to know unless they go online and look it up. That would have been a beautiful mid-card match to have, especially considering that these two guys have had 4 spectacular tag team championship matches and no payoff. Nothing. James Storm versus Magnus. I was a huge fan of this feud. I was keeping up with it, and from what everyone is saying, this match was easily match of the night. I will definitely try somehow to get this match and watch it because I was really looking forward to it. But I didn't want to order the pay-per-view because look at all the other matches that are on the card. Why would I want to order the pay-per-view? Like this one. EC3 and Tyrus versus Lashley and Mr. Anderson, with EC3 and Tyrus going over. Once again, an issue of using the big show to promote an episode of Impact. Ridiculous. And now the spoiler is that EC3, going into tomorrow night on Impact, is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship against Kurt Angle. Why was this not on the pay-per-view? Why? You leave the World Heavyweight Championship match off of a pay-per-view. And if you want... Let me rephrase this. You know, WWE has 12 pay-per-views a year. So you can get away with not having a world title match on every single pay-per-view. TNA has 2 pay-per-views a year, if that. And already at one of them, you did not put the World Championship on the line. Stupid. Ridiculously stupid. I think they did the same thing at Bound for Glory last year, and why do you think I didn't watch it? It was ridiculous. EC3 and Tyrus go over to extend EC3's winning streak. Wouldn't it be so much better if his winning streak culminated in this big match on a pay-per-view with him winning the World Heavyweight Championship against Kurt Angle? But instead they, have to save it for an episode of Impact that, again, only half of America can watch, and only half of that half will probably watch it. Great job, TNA. And then we get to the main event, and this is pretty much the reason why I didn't want to watch this pay-per-view, is because it became all about the guy who won the King of the Mountain match for the King of the Mountain Championship, and that's fucking Jeff Jarrett. So, you finally leave this dump promotion of TNA to go form your own of GFW. And once again, it becomes all about Jeff Jarrett. It's absolutely ridiculous that he ever needed to come back in the first place. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, and not to mention, once again, this match was only announced last Wednesday on Impact. His entrance in the match was only announced on Wednesday. The pay-per-view was Sunday. It is now Tuesday. Not even a week of build to this. That's the first mistake. The second mistake, he already leaves TNA on bad terms. He already starts his own promotion in GFW, and you have to have him go over here for what reason? Proper send-off? Why does he need a proper send-off? He already left and formed his own company. So now, you have this guy who's now the competition go over on your pay-per-view. Does that make any sense? And all he did, pretty much, in the process, was promote GFW. So good for Jeff Jarrett for promoting his company. And shame on TNA for allowing this shit. Because it was shit. And if you're saying, and if you're going to tell me that he has absolutely no say in any of this, he's the founder of TNA, he fucking has say. And if he didn't have any say, he wouldn't have won 4 world championships in TNA back in the early days of TNA back in 2004, 5, and 6. He wouldn't have been in main event matches every single pay-per-view. He wouldn't have been in main event matches for, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 straight years in TNA? If you think that he had no say in any of this decision, blow me. Because that is fucking ridiculous. And it's ridiculous how you wasted Matt Hardy, Eric Young, Drew Galloway. You know, you're building Drew Galloway up as a top guy in TNA. Wouldn't it have been great if he went over? You know, maybe Bobby Roode could go over for a respect thing. Maybe Eric Young could go over. You know, because he was around during the golden days of TNA. Bobby Roode was around for the golden days of TNA. But you give it to the guy who fucking left. Instead of the guys who remains loyal, like Young and Roode, you give it to the guy who left and created his own company. So, a combination of all of that is the reason why I didn't watch Slammiversary. And it's the reason why I'm continuing to not watch TNA. Because what the hell is the point? They never learn from their mistakes, and they never try to fix the mistakes. They only make the mistakes worse. So thank you, TNA, for this lackluster pay-per-view. I'll make sure that I don't order Bound for Glory, and I don't watch Impact for the next couple of weeks, months, or maybe even years. And who knows if you're even going to be around for these next couple of years. And that's what I have to say about Slammiversary. Screw you if you don't agree with me.